Mr. Robin here of the Cosmic City blog. This is the third of our almost daily blogcasts targeted for those of you who are too lazy to read the blog posts. Cousin Fred is at the controls. Say hey, Cousin Fred. Happy Thursday to you all. I have the post-voting day blues, I guess. Just can't seem to get motivated today. Cousin Fred is talking about embarking on a new enterprise that has to do with medical marijuana here in Oklahoma. I can't wait to hear about that. He says he has a backer that wants to talk with us. Again, can't wait. Friends, have you ever been to New Orleans? It's a great place to visit. I don't think I'd want to live there, but for a few days it's not too bad. I've never made a trip there, and believe me, there have been several over the years that I would call a bad trip. Well, there was the time I drove from New Orleans back to Pensacola, Florida on a motorcycle in a driving rain in November. I don't think I've ever been that effing cold or miserable in my life. But I digress. I started making regular runs to the Big Easy when I was about 19. My girlfriend had dumped me, so I was looking for new adventure. I was stationed in Pensacola at the time, and New Orleans was a fairly easy drive, of about 200 miles, I think. Of course, I was making those drives in a 1962 Chevrolet Bel Air, had the 327 engine, by the way, that had zero business being on the road. The tires barely passed for tires, but somehow still managed to hold air. That beast consumed oil faster than it did gas. In fact, I had to stop every 60 miles or so just to put another quart of oil in it. The cooling system was screwed. You couldn't punch that 327 to life for more than about a quarter of a mile before the thing overheated and shut down. But when you're 19 and there's a woman on the other end of a 200-mile drive, I'd have walked to New Orleans barefoot if necessary. Her name was Marie. We were sort of shacking up. If I could make it to New Orleans, I had a shack to ing up in. I thought at the time I was in love. Most likely it was lust. I've been back to New Orleans many times since those days. Marie is long gone, but I never get tired of the city. Maybe I was lucky that I didn't get burned by Marie. History is replete with tales of men being led astray by one siren or another. What got me to think about all of this is a story I read online about some poor slob, and I use the term poor figuratively. You'll see why in a second. This guy, while staying at a hotel in New Orleans, lost in a big way. By the way, the guy was down in the spendy part of town, and near as I can tell was probably staying at the Hyatt House on Poydras Street. Details aren't plentiful from the story, but it seems our high-dollar horn dog, hereafter known as Horn Doggy, had been partying in the French Quarter, been the ruin of many a poor boy. On Bourbon Street at 2 a.m., where he met an enchantress by the name of Kristen. That's her story, and she's sticking to it. Soon enough, they head back to his hotel. It's probably about a mile distance. I'll bet they went there for a late night / early morning literary discussion of the propensity of latter 19th century French novelists to use footnotes in their fiction. Hey, it's what I would do. Oh, really? At some point in the middle of their literary discussion, or more likely soon thereafter, Enchantress leaves the hotel with his $100,000 gold watch. A $100,000 watch. Who the hell spends that kind of money on a goddamned watch? Obviously Horndoggy did. Hey, maybe he's married to a sugar mama, though not likely for much longer, who bought it for him as a gift. A mere trifle, darling, a mere trifle. Yep, the fat's in the fire now. His bacon will cook when them chickens come home to roost, or words to that effect. New Orleans PD is hot on the case. She probably left that hotel that morning and drove straight to Houston to hawk that watch. They have a surveillance photo from the hotel on her quote-unquote checkout. Horndoggy told the cops that she has a tattoo on her left thigh that says money. Now that should have been a freaking clue. So what have we learned here today, kids? 1. New Orleans is a fun place to visit, but you won't want to live there. 2. If you go, be sure to visit Café du Monde on Jackson Square for coffee and beignet donuts. 3. Also, if you go, leave the $100,000 watch locked up in the hotel's safe. Better yet, don't own a $100,000 watch. 4. Avoid the French Quarter after 11 p.m. when the freak parades start. Didn't you ever read Interview with the Vampire? 5. 19th century French novelists used footnotes in their fiction, and women love to hear about it. 6. Somewhere there's a woman named Kristen with money tattooed on her thigh and a wad of cash from selling a very high-end watch. If you run into her, run, but not before she buys the drinks. And finally, the 7th thing I think we've learned today is that, on second thought, just stay the hell away from New Orleans. That is all. Oh, be sure to like us and share this content. Let's be a beacon for snark in a snark-resistant world, shall we? Until next time, Mr. Robin and Cousin Fred, signing off.